Alright, EA Ermor turned 70. This is another one of those possibly pivotal turns, and of course another showdown in Agartha. So let's take a look at that. Before we look at anything else, there's a decent chance that he just pulled off. No, he chose to hang out. Okay. And there's also a chance that he cloud trapeze some more mages in, but it doesn't really look like it. I'm not seeing a ton of extra cap mages here. Of course, it is a little difficult to tell because the model is pretty similar to his skin shifters, of which he has a lot. So let's maybe take a look at the commander screen. Yeah, so not a ton of his cap onlys, although we do see a Thunder Priest here. Can't actually see his gear from this screen, so that could be an Earthquake, which we're a little bit prepared for, but not completely prepared for. No, looks like he's probably just air elementals or, some sort of air stuff. So we're probably not going to get Earthquake cheesed. There's a good chance there's going to be a Howl coming out, and I am a little concerned. Here's Fire Alley getting started. The Fire Snakes, of course, are undisciplined, and the Fire Elementals also basically are undisciplined. Yeah, here come the Bears. They're going to be annoying because of the Blood Vengeance. He's throwing out some, Fire Elementals as well, of course. So we've got our Foul Vapors. We've got, he put up Light of the Northern Star. Interesting. So he wants some extra astral access. And then he's, threw up Mist, I guess for some ranged fire concern, but, there's no ranged components here in Fire Alley. Looks like he also put up Arrow Fend, but nope, no flaming arrows here. We are switching gears. Looks like he did get Serpent's Blessing off, or at least some Poison Ward. Yeah, it looks like it was Poison Ward, right? Because this skin shifter did not get any poison resistance. Now, of course, he probably will be spamming out some more poison resistance, so there's a good chance he'll get most, if not all, of his guys. And this is going to be bloody, definitely, but we're blasting out a ton of fire elementals. His bears have basically disappeared. Our gladiators on this flank have mostly disappeared. But I mean, the gladiators we're gonna go anyway. And now our snakes are in there. I think we have mass regeneration and luck. He does not have mass regeneration, which would be really useful on these sacreds. I'm sure he's sad about that. It's due to his drain scales. So we do have some routes here. Not sure what happened there. I mean, Blood Vengeance. I'm sure he's casting things. And we knew this was going to be bloody. And it is bloody. Looks like Fog Warriors goes off. Yeah, so now all of his units have Mist form, which would be really bad if we were using a lot of mundane weapons. But since most of our gladiators are dead, that's going to matter a lot less now. His skin shifters are really, really powerful. We still have quite a few fire elementals left, but the fire snakes, of course, don't have the best morale, so we're starting to see some routes here. And a lot of his bears are falling asleep though, because I don't think many of them got, so some of them got fire resistance, but some of them actually had fire weakness, so it looks like he did, punch out some protection spells. Not really sure why some of our fire elementals are just hanging out here. Let's go ahead and turn on team colored squares. He does have a few units there, but yeah, we really could, use these guys in combat. So we do at least, some of our communion is up. It looks like at least some of our flame spirits have retreated. Probably should have put more gems on everyone, although, we were somewhat down to it on the gems. Let's see, there's a lot of poison damage happening. 10 is not perfect, right? So you're still going to take a good amount of poison damage. Of course, the other thing too is the fire snakes deal a good amount of poison damage. And now some of his skin shifters have made it to our communion, so we're definitely going to lose some casters. It is kind of looking like we're going to lose this. His skin shifters are just really, really powerful. Definitely, some of them are getting down to it. A lot of them are bears, so I think even if he comes away with this, it's going to be pretty bloody. But yeah, this did not go nearly as well as I had hoped. And I don't think we really have a better strategy that we can employ to get rid of these skin shifters. I don't know, maybe some weapons of sharpness or strength of giants, right? Work a little bit of earth in as well. Of course, we're not really going to have a ton of casters with which to employ any strategies. We definitely lost this pretty badly, I would say. He's gonna lose maybe half of his sacreds if we're lucky. A lot of them are in bear form, which is really sad. It's kind of unfortunate that these guys they fell asleep and they're not gonna die. There is a chance, of course, that a few of them died of poison at the end of the battle. And like, yeah, oh, you know what? Some of these are his fire elementals. That's what it is. Nice. He actually spammed out quite a few fire elementals. So yeah, we lose this. That's unfortunate, but there's not that much left. So like, yeah, that's, I mean, you know, we have nothing left. So much for crushing him. Let's take a look. So yeah, we lose 125. The good news, we lose 2 flame spirits. That's interesting. They probably killed themselves with blood vengeance, or maybe some of his sacreds got through. Like, we didn't really have much of a front line, so once the fire snakes collapsed, then, you know, it didn't go so well. And then, like, yeah, we lose most of our casters, so, you know, that's super rough. Lose, yeah, a little over half the fire snakes. All the gladiators, of course, are gone. We were expecting that. And then, like, yeah, just sort of a grab bag of other stuff. But it's really like the fire snakes, and especially like those 2 flame spirits, like that really hurts. He does lose one of his summons, but otherwise, like, no mage losses, which is really important. And yeah, he only loses 34 of his skin shifters, which is just not enough. So yeah, this could be it for the war. I don't, you know, we'll see. We can keep whittling this force down, but I mean, we threw a lot of stuff at it. And, you know, to come away with less than half of these guys is rough. I guess we were approaching half. So let's take a look at the rest of it. That was the most important thing, and actually the thing I felt the best about. So that's, you know, kind of problematic. Yeah, Alma's out. We knew that. Let's see if our mind hunts get his mercenary. Nope, that one did not. This one got, I think this was just like a Jade Amazon that was supporting him. So that guy's probably going to take another province. We're trying to do some assassinating. This is against a Rusian wizard with our bow, and yeah, he has a bunch of fire gems now, so that's cool. Phoenix Pyre, that's interesting, but yeah, it's probably going to cancel his spell casting. No, nice, he manages to maintain his concentration. So Phoenix Pyre, of course, yeah, will cause it so he'll explode and come back to life. It was an interesting choice, but his morale fails, which is often the case with, like, yeah, these wizards, especially. Did he take, like, no, he didn't take Battle Fright, so just, like, not fantastic morale in general on those, like, more researcher type mages. So that works out for us at least. And then let's see if we get his undead leadership here. This is just a Mound King. He does have bodyguards though, right? So that's very nice. And of course, yeah, I probably should have set the assassin to actually, like, hold rather than attack. So that's a mistake. I don't actually use water bottle assassins a ton. And, like, yeah, the corpse constructs, I mean, I think it's more he just has them, right? So threw them on his bodyguards, but they don't care about, you know, cold. So yeah, and that was just a scripting mistake on my part. I think if I just set our assassin to, like, hold, right, and let the water or ice elemental go in on his own, then we wouldn't have lost our assassin there. But we do at least kill the Mound King, right? So he doesn't get the water bottle, and we do strand those undead near his capital. And these are our northern raids where we're pushing out. So let's see if he chose to hang out here. No, he didn't. So yeah, we're going to wipe out, you know, as just a couple PD, maybe 6 PD, which is kind of interesting. Guess he's feeling somewhat confident. I'm not going to be able to raid back. Oh, right, this is us taking out the horror. Wow. Attempting to take out a Gore-Tide horror. And, like, yeah, oh, wow. Oh, they have fire resistance? Man, I should have checked that. Most horrors do not have elemental resistances, but I don't know about most. A lot of horrors don't have elemental resistances, but this guy does. So our plan was fire elementals and incinerate, and that plan is not going to go so hot. And they have a ton of regeneration, right? And so our skeletons are not really going to be enough. I think, yeah, he's also ethereal. No protection, right? So, like, magic weapons is a big deal. But, of course, like, yeah, skeletons do not have magic weapons. And, like, yeah, we blasted out, yeah, enough fire elementals. I think even with the 10 fire resistance, it's, you know, we're getting there, I think. A couple lucky rolls. Yeah, so we do come away with it. Throw out some Soul Slay as well. Is it actually the Soul Slay that got him? Let's check. I don't think so, but it could be. No, he was able to resist the Soul Slay. It was the fire elementals in the end that came away with it. So there you go. Even against Gore-Tide with 10 fire resistance, that can work. And then it looks like we get raided somewhere. This is probably, oh no, okay. This is, yes, just, one of his thugs rolling out. Right, this is the guy with the shade mail. I don't think we have an augur here. So yeah, probably actually need to start like moving the augurs around where this guy is, or just have him everywhere. That works too, because of course with stealth, right, he can, you know, sort of pick and choose, and if I'm not moving an augur into the province, or if I'm not moving the augurs around, then he can kind of, you know, guarantee that he's going to hit a province that he's going to avoid magic duel. And then it looks like Xibalba has joined this war. I mean, at least a little bit. Okay, this looks like a relatively small raid, somewhat cheap, although I think these are blood summons and a black heart, which allows for assassination. So maybe these guys got patrolled out. Is this guy stealthy? Yeah, are vampires stealthy? I didn't think so, but they could be. Oh wow, they are stealthy. Okay, so there's a decent chance that this is a Xibalban force that is getting like patrolled out and wasn't planning on initiating this battle. Then again, like, yeah, it's a lot of PD, but I think they'll be able to take this. These are some pretty powerful casters, and like they have some kit, and like, yeah, the lifelong protection is definitely a big deal. So I do think Xibalba will be able to come away with it here, although, yeah, it's a little scary, these arrows. I don't think these casters, yeah, they have a little bit of natural protection, a good amount of hit points, so pretty unlikely that, like, what are these, slingers are going to actually be able to kill him. But yeah, and then this guy actually just flew in. Does he have some? Okay, he has some kit. Nice. Doesn't need any weapons. He can just use his venomous fangs and claws. But yeah, a little odd that, you know, you'd use Black Heart in like raiding, although this is enough PD to, you know, generate patrol checks, I believe. But it does work out for Xibalba there. So yeah, they take that province with no losses against, yeah, pretty significant PD. But then, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know, Niflheim attacks with a thug, with a scrawny thug. And so he was probably, whoops, just looking to take this from Theridos, but now he has to fight Xibalba, and like, yeah, you know, solid kit, fairly cheap kit. I like it. Nothing too special, but this is dangerous for a Scrotty, definitely. I mean, this is dangerous for both sides. Yeah, the imps jump in, especially like the lifelong protection is going to make it pretty difficult for the Scrotty to actually come away with this. There's some danger of fatiguing out, but yeah, pretty low encumbrance, and yeah, good reinvigoration. So yeah, he's fatigue neutral. So, and he has a vine shield, so that helps a lot against, you know, chaff type monsters or generation, such as the imps. So good amount of regeneration. Like, yeah, Scrotty are super dangerous. There you go, you put up liquid body, so he's still trying to get up his script. It's of course difficult to get through your whole script when you're up against flyers. Theridos doesn't have that many flyers, so, you know, Niflheim was probably thinking that he had a bit more time, you know, to actually run through his script, you know, because Xibalba was not here when he issued his orders. And like, yeah, this is definitely dangerous. You know, the regeneration and affliction resistance, I think, definitely coming in. You know, Scrotty tend to take a decent amount of damage. Like, the protection on this guy isn't that high, so you can definitely see that, like, the Scrotty, right, is taking a significant amount of damage periodically, even against, like, this, you know, relatively weak chaff for the most part. Obviously, this vampire with the Wraith Sword, 29 magic damage, that's kind of dangerous. Yeah, so this Scrotty is definitely in danger, and, you know, he's not killy enough because the Black Steel Sword doesn't have an AoE component, right? And so even with his bite, like, he's only killing 2 guys around, and, you know, somebody's still making skeletons. Imps are, of course, always popping out from the lifelong protection. I think it's like 2 around. So there's just no way, right? You got 2 imps coming in every round. You got, I don't know, 2 skeletons coming in every other round. Like, you know, it's just, yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to kill him fast enough. So this is probably going to turn timer. And yeah, I think since Niflheim is the attacker, they will route first, most likely. Let's see if I can bring up the... Sorry about that. Took me a second to bring up the battle rounds. So yeah, we got about another 30 rounds. So I'm going to go ahead and bail on this because, like I said, I do think that the Scrotty is going to end up retreating, although, you know, it's not impossible that he dies. Yeah, there you go. So Niflheim attacked Xibalba, but was defeated, but, you know, he doesn't actually lose the Scrotty. He might lose him in the retreat in theory. So yeah, that more or less works out for Xibalba. A little scary, I think, for both sides. And then this is a raid from Russ. I think this has got to be the mercenary. Yep, here he is. We didn't kill him. Stupid mercenary. Summoning water elementals. There goes the Dustwalker, fleeing. Fewer than before, I think, so we're probably losing him in the retreat. That's fine. I think, a little bit of Undead Command on Early Age Ermor's Bless would not go amiss. Not that you're likely, like the Dustwalker is like, forget it. I'll probably never have another game with Early Age Ermor, like where I find that site and I'm able to use it. But there's a lot of other, there's undead running around as Early Age Ermor. This guy's at least out of water gems now, although his contract is probably almost up as well, right? So, it was well done by Russ. Those are probably gems that the mercenary just came with. So, it's like free gems. Definitely better to use them up. We know all about the battle in Agartha. Very sad about that. But, we will persevere. So let's see. All right, we're getting rid of some villains here. So there's just some swarm stuff, and it should be fine. We're throwing up some body ethereal. This guy had no nature gems, so he's just set to advance and cast spells. He's gonna put protection on the bugs, I guess. Sure, why not? So villains kind of suck, so most things can handle them, including a swarm of bugs. So that works out for us. No losses there, although it does cost us a gem, which is definitely relevant, because we're gonna lose some gem income this turn, not nature gem income. Right, these are our legionaries. Right, Bone Tribe. I forgot there was Bone Tribe here. Decent chance we lose this, actually. And he's not, PD dumped. Yeah, we do have shields, which is really nice for that Javelin exchange. Astadi, they are good, at least, against independents. And, I actually think I need to raid more, with Astadi. I've been trying to use, leves and some of the cheaper options, and I think just on the balance, it's not worth it. Raid with the Astadi. I was kind of feeling the Astadi are maybe a little too valuable, but that's not really true. In a lot of the large army engagements, they have not really helped us out that much. Dang, you managed to find another province that we do not have an augur in, but we'll get there. Oh, right, this is this guy. He's down near TNN. Yeah, I don't know which province this is. We'll figure it out. We'll get augurs over there eventually. Oh man, the Agartha thing is the biggest problem. We're gonna have to reshuffle stuff. It also looks like he attacked the capital this turn, which we're getting to. So yeah, we're gonna lose that in case there was any confusion there. No confusion in my mind, at least not on that count. So okay, this is one of our attacks. This is near our capital. Okay, so he chose to hang out. Holy crap. He has way more skin shifters here than I was expecting. Yeah, he's really been able to slam a lot of these guys out. Shutting down the capital we knew was super important. Yeah, okay, so we're going to lose this, absolutely. This is his main army. Ooh, nice. He's got Wailing Winds. Yeah, so, there's a good chance we actually just get completely wiped here, because we don't really have enough rigor mortis. This army that we have out here is completely screwed. There's just, the size of the forces involved. That's the other thing I have to say, his sacreds especially, he has larger on them, right? Yeah, so he does have larger on them. They have pretty significant map move, right? So I think at least some of this, a decent amount of this stuff came out from his capital. And so yeah, there is absolutely no way. We do at least burn gems for whatever that's worth, but I don't even think we're really going to kill too much. Yeah, this moved out a lot faster than I expected. Long Dead Horse are really fast as well. The Vine Ogres, I'm kind of surprised we're able to one turn move from his capital. They probably have forest survival, so they're able to move through that forest more easily. So let's see. So he's got Howl. Wait, no, that's okay. And Relief, nice. And Storm, and Rigor Mortis, and Wailing Winds, and Grip of Winter. So yeah, very cool stuff. And we are now definitely in danger of completely losing this game. So clearly I was misreading this game state at least a little bit. So we lose, let's see, one Troll King. One Troll King survives. We'll see if he survives the retreat. The Flagellants, so we do kill a few things, but probably most of those are bugs. Yeah, okay. He does lose 3 Rusian Wizards, which is kind of interesting. I'm thinking that that's probably some communion burnout, maybe. He also managed to nab one of our augurs. That's sad. So that augur dies, so that's good, I guess. And he loses like a few long dead horse. And like, yeah, where is he getting all this stuff from? A good chunk of this is his mercenaries, right? So like these Veti are mercenaries, these longbowmen are mercenaries. He has a bunch of these long dead horse. And yeah, only 46, I say only 46 skin shifters. That's a lot of skin shifters. We really have not been doing a good enough job, of keeping those numbers down. Definitely been trying. Kind of surprised that he loses all these casters. Like losing 2 specters is pretty significant. This Son of Heaven, I think, is like cap only, like fairly expensive. It's one of his... oh no, he can get astral. Interesting. At least, some of them don't have astral, which make them a bit more useful for him because he doesn't have to worry about magic duel. Oh, you know what? That's how we got some of his commanders. Let's just take a quick look. I mixed some magic duel in here, maybe? No, yeah, I don't think so, actually. So I have no idea how his commanders... Oh yeah, no, we have a few augurs. Yeah, so it's probably magic duel. Let's go ahead and pause and take a quick look. Yeah, so it looks like at least one of our augurs won a magic duel against this Son of Heaven. And then this is the log for one of the dead specters. I'm assuming he was killed by magic duel because he is listed as dead. But yeah, I guess it doesn't actually show when you lose a magic duel in the log. So yeah, I think that explains at least some of his mage losses. Still not really sure about the Rusian Wizards because I think we only had 3 augurs here. So that only accounts for like 3 magic duels. Probably these 3 guys, although the Rusian Wizards definitely can have astral as well. So not really sure. Let's see. The Troll King, one of them, the guy who didn't die in the battle, does at least survive the retreat. So that's, silver lining there. Other silver lining, of course, is that we do not have to pay those trolls anymore. But still, not exactly ideal. And then here he is jumping on top of our capital. Or no, he's just pinging it with a scout. So fair enough. And we are only patrolling with a relatively, pretty small augur communion. I think some of these guys are going to blast out fire elementals. And then, we have a guy here who's ready to magic duel. So he now knows about that. Very nicely done. And then, there's not really going to be anything inside Agartha. Our slingers do manage to kill a Jade Sorceress, so hooray. There's still 45 skin shifters loose, and we lose a capital. And we were expecting to win that battle, and maybe, hopefully, split some of that force off to help us in the north, where we're in a worse position than I thought we were. So, I would say this turn has not gone well. Burden of time, of course. Looks like we have enough PD here. So we were able to seal the borders. We lose some tax, but the plague will hopefully not spread, although I guess that means we may get some guys diseased in that province. I don't think we have too many units there. We don't have too many units left in general. We cure some afflictions, some patrolling, and I'll see you guys after the jump. All right, this is the situation and what we're doing about it. This is definitely one of those sleep on it kind of turns. One of the nice things about having the longer timer, the 48-hour timer for turns. But I don't think we can realistically win this war anymore, but I mean, we're a long way from out yet, right? We still have an army available. We're bringing, a ton of stuff to our capital, for a last-ditch effort, and I think we should be able to make it memorable. With a slightly different plan for this next engagement, because I think, just obviously the fire snakes and fire elementals didn't quite work out. There were a few problems with that battle, which we'll talk about in a second, but I think even if we corrected those problems, probably we wouldn't have won. And then especially too, I think we're gonna have less stuff actually in our capital, at least as far as like the fire elemental summoning and fire snakes go. So it's like, we're gonna try the same strategy, but we're gonna have less of it. And like his army is bigger in this case, although I think has fewer skin shifters. Anyway, I just think it's worth trying something different. There's a pretty high, it's a Hail Mary, a pretty high likelihood that it's going to fail miserably. But if it works, I think it'll be memorable. So worth a shot. We'll talk about that more next turn. Really hoping that he does not one turn crack the capital. There's also a danger that he magic phases someone on top, which will block like a lot of our reinforcing movements. So we do have a few guys patrolling. We have like no PD, but we have at least one, maybe two mages patrolling for magic duel, right? So if he tries to cloud trapeze one of his guys on that has low astral, we'll be able, hopefully, to take him out and keep our capital unlocked so that, our troops can move in. Now, we're abandoning this fort here, right, that borders, so there's a chance that he moves onto that to take it first, but I don't think so, right? That's going to give me more time to prep, and of course, a big chunk of his forces are mercenaries, which we don't really have the gold to contest, unfortunately, because I think they are coming back up for most of them, right? He's going to have to rebid, so we could try to outbid for some of these, these guys probably would be worth it, but I don't know. I think our gold is probably just better spent in other places. We don't have a ton of gold right now. But anyway, considering his force composition and just the fact that, you don't want to leave your enemy time to prepare, I think he's going to jump directly on the capital, but he may not. He may even split. So lots of possible options, but we're setting up for capital defense, which, we'll talk about more next turn. But yeah, really hoping we don't get the one-turn crack, or that he doesn't get the one-turn crack, because we're not going to quite be ready in one turn, unfortunately, with our forging. So yeah, we'll see about that. Obviously, any thoughts of taking his capital, that's at minimum put on hold. We have to stop this giant doom stack first, and then I think we're just, even if we stop it, we're going to take so many losses. It's very unlikely, because he'll be recruiting more skin shifters, and we're just not, killing skin shifters fast enough. And then, of course, there's this force, which we're basically not contesting. We are moving some mages into this fort. Originally, I was going to try to split, and defend both places, but I just don't think we can. So, we'll have a few mages in here. We'll try to do some stuff, but these skin shifters are definitely going to run us over, and, they can definitely make this move in one turn, so they'll probably one turn crack that fort. So yeah, we'll do what we can there, but, realistically, we're going to start losing our heartland. He'll probably split out a few forces to raid, but I think mostly, right, he's going to go for the kill. He could also go for this fort, too, right? This is actually more valuable, and, we're just going to give it up. Maybe we can get more mages into this fort, right, because it's a little more centrally located, so even though this is a slightly more valuable province, And then, of course, we're stripping our border here, which is somewhat dangerous. Niflheim actually did start attacking Russ based off the game chat. We didn't actually catch it, so I tried to bribe Femoria to come in against Russ. I didn't really hear back. I kind of forgot. Femoria had even said that they were on fairly friendly terms with Russ, and it's totally fine. He probably has other things to do, but it was worth a shot. I actually think it would be a decent move for Femoria. We do know that Russ has a force on this throne that is at least sizable, although again mostly more researcher mages. Not, of course, could put up a credible defense, absolutely, but compared to what Femoria has, I think he could actually take quite a bit of Russ's stuff relatively quickly if he wanted to, but he may have other problems, and it's late enough in the game that he's probably not going to win based off the global situation and how powerful Therados and Niflheim are, so may not be worth it for him. But, definitely worth a shot. And then, of course, our army is moving through, Ubar's territory. I just sent Ubar, five air gems, and I let him know in chat that, hey, I need to move through this. They're just okay. So, I don't know. We'll see. I suspect that they're probably fairly checked out of this game, so, it's not a big deal. But, maybe he moves some stuff in and tries to defend, it's okay. And, right, the war is, kind of over. This army hasn't done a ton for us, so it was always going to be a gamble, right? We were gambling that we could win this fight, and we lost that gamble. So would it have been better to leave the army in position, right? If our army was in position, adding together everything else that we had, could we have won that fight? I think probably. Of course, I thought we could win it without the army, so who knows? But I really did feel we needed to get something loose, into his territory to start inflicting economic damage against him. And then, of course, we've seen how we're in great danger in these caves. So, I don't know. I don't even hate it. Trying to go around, maybe like taking this fort was questionable, but we talked about like, why we did that, and I don't even hate that move. So like it didn't work out, but I couldn't know that at the time. And I mean, he's still going to have to deal with this army, right? Like this is still a danger. It's still going to cause him problems. If I wanted to be real salty, right? If I take this, I could start just tearing down forts, right? I don't think I'm going to do that. I think, we're just going to try to take forts. And it's like, even if we lose our entire heartland, we can kind of make another stand like in the middle of his territory. It's also possible that like he gateways, some of this force in. His pretender is with, his main army. So I actually he can't really gateway with anyone else, I don't think. But he may have some other tricks up his sleeve, and he may decide, to magic phase move his army back to try to prevent us from getting loose in his heartland. So, this army in a lot of ways is really only getting started, and will, I hope, do more damage. So, we'll see. Then, of course, we do have, a decent number of mages here in TNN, and, he'll have to dig that out, and we plan on making that bloody. The war is not over, but I think, in terms of winning, it's a bit problematic. So let's talk a little bit about this battle, because I could have sworn that I scripted anti-magic. Like I was shocked that I hadn't, and I had scripted anti-magic. Is this fellow. Now I think this is going to highlight a couple of things. For starters, I'm a big believer that you generally should only put one important spell like per mage, right? Trying to stack up multiple important spells on one mage can be dangerous. There's definitely reasons to do it. I mean, sometimes that's your only mage that can cast those spells, so you just got to go with that. Other times, they're just like a very survivable chassis, right? Whereas your other mages are more likely to die. So it's like, okay, even though we're sort of putting a couple eggs in one basket, it's a very secure basket. So there's definitely reasons, to do that. And this isn't a particularly secure basket, but, he at least has winged shoes, right? So we were a little bit worried about earthquake spam, and then, he's safe from poison, which, we're going to poison ourselves here. And we don't have an abundance of mages here, so, we were somewhat forced to stack spells. So this guy is going to cast Will of the Fates first, and then cast Anti-Magic. And then, of course, another reason that you want to spread your spells out is you get those spells off more quickly, right? So we're going to get Anti-Magic a bit on the late side for this fight, although I don't actually think, that was going to be so much of a problem, because especially in the late game battles, both sides tend to hold an attack. Not always, but usually both sides have a bunch of buffs they want to get off. So as long as you're getting your spells off by like turn 3 or even turn 4, you're probably okay from a melee standpoint. Of course, there's a lot of reasons, spellcasting reasons, that getting your buffs up on turn 1 are very important, but we weren't expecting that from Russ, and indeed, that was not the problem. First he twist fates himself, and he's in the same square as this guy this augur who's gonna become a communion slave. But first he cast Body Ethereal, right? So now this fellow here, he's ethereal, he's got Twist Fate, fairly secure basket. All that stuff is good. We have some Equite back here to make sure that, they kill some bugs on their way out. And, now I think he's working on Will of the Fates, which is a fairly long spell to cast. So it's going to take him a while. And there's Will of the Fates. And then here's where the problem is. He used all of his gems. I've talked about how, the mages, they love to use gems. And Will of the Fates only costs 4, right? And he had 5, but he chose to use that last one for fatigue. I did not set him to conservative gem usage, because I kind of figured that, he's a part of the communion, right? And it's a substantial communion, right? He's got 6 communion slaves, so, plenty of people to offload fatigue onto. You can see that his fatigue is super low, having just cast, I think, a 400 fatigue spell. So I don't think he really needed to use that extra gem, but they love to keep their fatigue down. So now he has no gem with which, to cast anti-magic. And this is just another reason that, definitely I probably should have set him to conservative gem usage, although in my experience, that doesn't always work out. The safer bet, of course, is, just load them up with extra gems. It's easy to say that now, but we are pretty starved for Astral at this point. We don't have very good Astral income. I think, I've been a bit frivolous with my Astral spending. Of course, we sent off a decent number of pearls to help with some dispels, which I don't regret that. Those were important things to try to dispel. But Yeah, I do think that remote site searching for Astral as an Astral nation is pretty important. Like, we could have site searched harder, for Astral, and I mean, who knows, right? Maybe we would have gotten nothing, but I do think that's worth it. And certainly, if I were to play Early Age Ermor again, I would search much harder for Astral. It's one of those things where Astral's a bit weird because early in the game, you just kind of don't really have a lot of uses for them. So, Astral Pearls just tend to stack up, and it's easy to think like, oh, I have a ton of this. I can use it for a variety of things. But then, like, later in the game, especially if you're strong Astral Power, there's a ton of things to be spending those pearls on. So, that's just somewhat like some inexperience, maybe a little bit of bad luck in terms of, we just haven't found a ton of Astral sites. And then also, like, not good enough site searching. So we're just low on Astral Pearls, and I didn't think that I needed to load him with extra gems, but clearly I did. So he has no gem now with which to cast Anti-Magic, and we don't get Anti-Magic up. Now, I don't think that would have changed the outcome of this battle, but, it would mean that our gladiators would not have disappeared as quickly, although you can see, right, like, okay, this group of gladiators hasn't really engaged yet, because it's next up in his script, right? So, like, these gladiators would have fought without anti-magic for a decent amount of time, and that definitely would have mattered. So another reason, you want to try to get those spells off as quickly as possible. I think the other mistake that I made is I did not put up any protection buffs, and the main one that we have access to, right, is mass protection, which of course, like, gives fire weakness. And I mean, considering our plan was to summon a bunch of fire elementals, it seemed like, well, like, that's going to give our gladiators, like, weakness to fire. There's all these, like, heat auras and everything. And, like, we're going to get hit with Blood Vengeance, which is armor negating, right? So protection doesn't matter. And then most of Russ's units hit, like, so hard, right? The skin shifters, that it's like, is the mass protection really going to matter? But, I actually do think it would have, especially, I think, for the fire snakes, although, they already have pretty good natural protection. So, again, I don't think it was a thing that was a massive deal. But considering, like, the fire snakes, right, they have a bunch of fire resistance. So if they go down to fire resistance 20 because of the mass protection, like, who cares? So I do think that I was maybe being a little too cautious about the fire weakness, and that the protection benefits may have been worth it, especially because of the mass regeneration, which again is not super powerful on what we're using, more powerful on these fire snakes because they're going to regenerate more. But, on the gladiators, it's really going to be in a lot of ways, like, kind of irrelevant. It does help a lot if you have luck, right? Because you're just that much harder to kill. So you do actually have a chance to, like, regenerate back up. So, maybe you'll get into a situation where it's like you can take another hit. But yeah, neither of those things really did us any favors, especially missing the anti-magic, although, yeah, I just think I underestimated, like, how tough these skin shifters are to kill. So, just some thoughts on that battle, and, like, kind of, some things that went wrong that hopefully will correct for this coming battle on top of our capital. Otherwise, like, still trying to do a little bit of raiding and then, research. That's not really a thing that we do anymore. So we switched up for Evocation 7. Really, and then 8, which will give us, like, 8 will give us Pillar of Fire. We'll never get there, I don't think. And then 7 is very unlikely that we'll reach that, but not impossible. And, like, that gives us a few things, like Wind of Death is something we can do. I don't think it'll be super effective because of his magic resistance on the Bless. And, he's been good about putting up anti-magic turn 1, because obviously this is something that Early Age Ermor can do. So, he's wise to be afraid of that. It'll also give us Firestorm, which probably won't be relevant, but he has been putting mass protection on a lot of his guys, and again, that gives fire weakness. So there's problems with using wipe spells against Blood Vengeance, but it'll just be another tool for us, and it doesn't really matter because, like I said, I don't think we're going to really reach anything else. So yeah, a bit of a rough one, but we're setting up for a memorable battle on top of our capital, and we absolutely have not given up in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, that was turn 70.